The best way to simplicity is to reduce, reduce, and reduce again. Let me explain. My name is John, and you're listening to the Tech Leader Pro podcast. It is week 4 of 2026. You're very welcome. Reduction leads to simplicity. It sounds intuitive, but in a world that rewards more, choosing less is a radical act of engineering. The most effective way to reach simplicity is through a relentless cycle: reduce, reduce, and reduce again. In philosophy and science, this is known as Occam's razor, or the law of parsimony. Formally, it states that, quote, entities should not be multiplied beyond necessity, end quote. In our context, this means if you have two solutions that provide the same result, the simpler one is almost always the better one. Whether it's a software architectural design, your code base, or your organizational processes, simple solutions are inherently more sustainable. The reasons for this aren't just technical, they are biological. Firstly, complexity increases cognitive load, the amount of mental effort being used in the working memory. More moving parts makes it harder for a human to maintain a mental model of the system. Secondly, simplicity respects the limits of human cognition. By reducing moving parts, we make the system easier to debug, support, and evolve. If a process is too complex, every additional step acts as a potential point of failure. In reliability engineering, we look at this in terms of serial system reliability. If you have a 10-step process and each step has a 99% success rate, your overall reliability is lower than a 5-step process with those same margins. By moving from 10 steps to 5, you aren't just cleaning up, you are mathematically halving your surface area for risk. Fewer steps means fewer unknown unknowns. But how do we actually get to 5 steps from 10? We use a method called first principles thinking. Instead of iterating on what exists, you deconstruct the process to its fundamental truths. You ask yourself, quote, what is non-negotiable for this output, end quote. Firstly, start by reducing to 9 steps by eliminating the redundant. Secondly, move to 8, then to 7. This is following our reduce, reduce, reduce dogma. And then thirdly, continue until you have distilled the process down to its fundamental marrow. As a legendary aviator once said, who I won't try to pronounce his name, apologies to my French audience, quote, perfection is attained not when there is more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away, end quote. I absolutely love that quote. The same principle applies to your code base. Every line of code is a liability. It requires testing, it requires reading, and it potentially hides a bug. The most mature move a developer can make isn't writing a complex algorithm, it's deleting 100 lines of code while keeping the same functionality intact. Remember, the best code is the code you don't have to write, or the code you are able to delete. By reducing the number of parts in your system or process, you are making it stronger, not weaker, because there will be less parts to fail. Attack it without mercy, reduce, reduce, reduce. Take care, you guys. Talk to you next time.